Last week we talked about how to handle tests, how to handle the test that comes up in our life. We don't like tests, but they come up. They show up randomly sometime, and we never expect it, and it sucks. And I used to feel weak. Honestly, I thought I was weak at times as well. And I think about what makes a strong mindset. Now, have you ever met someone who just you looked at them, and this guy or gal have a strong mindset. Just give off the strong vibe, right? Like, man, I want to be like that. It's so strong. By the way they live, just by the way they operate. So I had an opportunity to train for this event a while back last year. It was this event called 2029 Everesting by Jesse Esler. He started this business where it's like an event. He started this event business where you just climb up a mountain, kind of like climbing Everest, 29 miles on a lap rotation up this mountain. I was nervous. I was fearful. And when I get nervous and fearful, I really want to do it even more because it irritates me. It annoys me. It bothers me. And so when I get into this place, I'm so annoyed. I don't know if you guys get annoyed when you get fearful. I do. And so I signed up for this thing and I started training for it. And it's a 29-mile hike up a mountain. So high altitude. I went to Utah. The mountain was called Snow Basin. You could look this up. You lapped it. I hiked this mountain 14 times. 29 miles took me 30 hours nonstop. I was tired. My legs hurt. I felt like my heel was about to split apart. My knees hurt. Everything hurt. But, it forced me to train because I was scared and nervous to do it. And of course, at the end, I did finish, luckily. Some of you who've been with me long enough last year knew that I did it. And man, it was hard. But when I was able to finish the last lap, man, it felt really good. And you get this hat, you get this red hat. Okay. If you only get this hat if you earned it. So that's a cool thing. And it really taught me a lot about how to really build up a strong mindset, right? A winning mindset. You got to have a strong mindset to have a winning mindset. And this type of mindset is not given, right? You weren't born with a strong mindset or a winning mindset, right? You don't just wake up and one day and it's like, hey, I got it. It's developed over time. So you're not born with a Navy SEAL mindset, all right? Just so get out of your mind. You were given and developed the mindset through your experience in life, right? So through all your experiences, it either makes you stronger or weaker. So think about your current life right now, your current mindset right now, right? What level are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Just think about that. Like, 1 being I feel weak, 10 being I'm invincible. Like, where are you? What's your number? Right? Just think about that. Share it in the chat if you're confident enough to share it. I feel like I'm an 8 because I've been through a lot. So I'm an 8, right? That's just me. I'm confident. But share it in the chat. There's no shame. This isn't a place to judge. It's just give us a gauge. Right? It gives you a gauge of where you are. And you'd be surprised. Everybody might have a number similar to you, right? So that you can improve. So share it in the chat what number you are from 1 to 10 of, let's say, where you feel like your mindset level is right now. Like 1 being very weak and 10 being a very strong mindset. So the reason why I'm an 8, I believe I'm an 8 is because I don't react to situation or events anymore. I tend to respond to it. I take time and I respond. It doesn't matter what it is. And I have a very calm mindset. So I have a very calm response during emergencies because I've been through it. I've been through car accidents. I've been in a situation where I tore my bicep. I was fairly calm about it. It tore and I moved along. I was like, okay, tore my bicep. And that was it. And I have met people who are just totally the opposite of me. If you guys ever been in a situation where you met someone who like just totally melt down when they face emergencies or something happen, like they just go into panic mode. Have you guys ever met somebody like that? Raise your hand if you met somebody who just went into panic mode. Like when something happened, like it's just like they're just freaking out. Like there's a bug, they're just freaking out, right? So just imagine like you're cooking in the kitchen. You got a sharp knife in your hand, you're chopping up some carrots, and then the carrots are unstable. The next thing you know, you slice the tip of your fingers off. So that happened to me before, okay? That happened to me. And some people might be freaking out, like, because the blood is everywhere. My wife might be freaking out. She sees the blood shot up everywhere. But for me, I just kind of, grabbed some towels, taped it up, and was like, okay, I think we need to go to the doctor because this bleeding is not stopping. you have to think about how will you respond, right? Some of you might not respond very well. Some of you might react. Your heart might race. You freaking out. You might be screaming in pain. Some of you might not be in the right place of mind to take care of the situation. Like, where's the tip of my finger, right? It might not be fun for you at the time, but like some of you might not react in the right way to handle that situation, right? And that's why that's why I'm not in the restaurant business, right? Things like that happen. Just kidding. There's other reasons why I'm not in the restaurant business, but before we get into building the right mindset, the strong mindset, we got to be aware of what a weak-minded person look like. Right? Let's talk about some of the traits that someone with a weak mindset has, right? First is a fixed mindset. The reason why this is a trait of weakness is because you you fail to keep growing, right? You stop because you focus on like this is what I have and this is what I'm going to continue to do. You limit your abilities, you limit your intelligence, you limit your growth, and pretty much you essentially stop yourself from seeking any obstacles or challenges. So fixed mindset. Anyone who has a weak mindset will have a fixed mindset. Negative self-talk, number two. Constantly engaging in self-criticism, self-deprecation, doubting their abilities, leading to low self-esteem and a lot of lack of confidence. So just think about, if you guys don't know what self-deprecation means, is just think about a comedian talking about themselves. Where you're not a comedian, okay? But if you're watching us like stand-up comedy, a comedian will be joking about himself, right? Like, haha, I'm like a piggy, I eat a lot. When you do that, you're actually planting negative thoughts in your mind. And you don't want to do that. You subconsciously will see that and it will affect you long term. So a lot of people do that without realizing it because they're insecure about who they are. So they make jokes and make fun jokes about themselves. And you don't want to do that. Okay. Number three, they fear failure. They run away from failure. Why? Because when you try something new, you run away from it. You don't want to try anything new. So you don't want to take any risks. You don't want to do anything that might, you know, you might seem like you suck at it. You run away from things. You worry about what other people might think about you when you fail. So you fear failure. And this is a part of having a weak mindset. All right. Number four, you blame other people. You don't take responsibility. Okay. Your actions and your outcomes are no longer your responsibility. It's somebody else. It's somebody's fault. You blaming people all the time. That's a weak mindset. Lack resilience. All right. Next one is lack of resilience. Setback, obstacles, challenges stops you. The first problems that comes up, you stop. And these are the traits of someone with a weak mind. Don't worry if you have some of these things, it's okay. You can change it, all right? So don't worry. I'm just listing it out so that you're aware, right? When you have a lack of resilience, it just means when something happened, when there's a block in the road. Like imagine you're driving down a road and a tree fell down in front of it and it's blocking the road. Instead of figuring out another way to go around it, you just stand in front of it and you're like, okay, let's go back. I don't want to keep moving forward. That's what it is. Lack of resilience. All right. You don't want to keep pushing forward. Number six, inability to receive feedback. Having like positive criticism, having feedback from friends or partners or your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. You get really offended when you hear those things. Like that just means you don't know how to grow. You don't know how to see um, improvement, right? You get very defensive. So having the inability to receive feedback is very bad. So don't do that. All right. Number seven, constant complaining. So don't be around complainers. Who likes to be around complainers? I don't. So if you are around people who are complaining, they have a weak mindset. So don't be around them because you're gonna get the same contagious complaining, sickness, illness. I think it's an illness. So you're gonna get it too. All right. Number nine, oh, lack of goals, right? Lack clear goals and vision for their life, very short-minded, focus on the moment, focus on uh currently now, not the future. Next one is selfishness, focus on themselves all the time. Like someone who has a weak mindset, always focus on themselves. What about me? What about me, me, me? What about me? What about this? What about that for me? Like when is it going to be my turn? And number 10, uh, prideful, have a lot of pride. They have an inflated ego, their arrogance, have a tendency to look down on others. And you know, a lot of the ego there is just to protect their own insecurities. So you're around someone who's very prideful, there is a lot of insecurities. That's why they're acting this way, right? That's why they act arrogant. That's why they look down on other people so that they feel less insecure about themselves. And these are some of the traits of someone who's weak-minded. So I don't want you to have these traits, so don't just write it down and be like, yeah, that's me. I want that, all right? Write it down so that you know that I don't want to be this way. So why is it important that we are aware of what weakness look like? Why is it important? Why is awareness so important? Because when you increase your awareness, you increase your level of careness. I don't know if careness is a real word, but you know what? It just sounds right in this sentence, right? Because your awareness, the more awareness you have, the more you will care, right? The more you will care about it enough to where you want to change it. So if you know what a weak-minded person look like, and now you know, now you're aware of it, now you can work towards changing it. So don't be offended, okay? If some of those things I listed highlight some of the weakness in your own life, now you can say, okay, now I know that this is what weakness looks like. You can start changing it, right? You can start aiming towards being a little bit better at receiving criticism, maybe letting go of some of the prideful attitude that you might have. Maybe you can let go of some of that blaming, that victim mentality, all of those things you can start working towards. Because just think about this, when you're not surrounded by someone who's telling you the truth all the time. So the reason why most people are afraid of being told like, hey, like this is your reality, because they don't want to accept that there's a lot of the poor actions that they've taken in their life cause them to be where they are today. A lot of their own lack of responsibility, lack of accountability got them to where they are. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to receive feedback. So that's why they don't want to tell anybody else the truth. So you want to be around people that's willing to share with you um, feedback that can help you grow. So just think about this when you're young as a kid, right? As a child. Who here is like to be corrected, disciplined, or being told like they did something wrong? Who here is like likes that? Raise your hand. I guess some of you, look at that, and I'm just kidding. Nobody here is like to be corrected or being told that they've done something wrong. And when you're like in your 30s, your 40s, we don't want that. I don't like it either, right? Dude, nobody likes being told that they're wrong. Nobody likes being told that they need to be, you know, do this better, do that better. Like, why did you do this? I don't like hearing my mom telling me that, you know, I got to do this better. But when you have a strong mindset, you can receive those things, right? When you start developing a stronger mindset, you start understanding that, hey, this is a process of growing, right? And through the process of feedback, it helps you grow. So who here thinks David Goggin is strong mentally? Right? Raise your hand if you think. If you guys heard of the Navy, I think he's a Navy SEAL. But if you heard of David Goggins, look him up. He's the guy that you know, hides his hand behind his back and jump into a lake and swim around. If you have seen that, I highly recommend you guys try it on some random weekend. It's definitely gonna make you stronger. You might die along the way, but it definitely, just kidding, it makes you stronger. I highly recommend not doing that. But you know, sometimes you got to test your strength, right? You got to test the strength of your mind and test the strength of your resilience. And one of my core value in my family that I teach my kids is grit. What is grit? If you ever read this book, so there's this book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. It's referred to a combination of passion and perseverance in pursuit of long-term goals. And it's the ability to maintain effort and interest in the face of challenges, setback, and failures. And what it means, I'll summarize it, it just means never giving up. So where do you get your reference of strength from? How do you establish if you're strong or weak, right? You have to have a reference point. So for me, my reference points has always been like from my parents, mainly because they went through a war-torn experience. They went through war, and I never been through war. They wake up every day thinking that they might die the next day. And so when I look back at my life today, that's my reference point. What is your reference point? Because dude, like when I start a business, like I don't know if it's gonna work out. It's an unknown. When I try something new, it's an unknown. But when every time I'm scared, I'm like, okay, let's just think back about what my parents went through. Any moment in their life when they were growing up, they could have died the day after. Like that day, they could have died the next day. So find your reference point. You can look at your personal development um, model from, let's say, Tony Robbins through his life. Find a role model that helps you see a reference point. Some people in your life might give you the reference point. Maybe your own struggle from their past could be your reference point. Always reflect on that so that at the end of the day you have a place in your life that you can sit in and reflect, right? And say, hey, this is the place that helps me know that, hey, this is where I used to be and I can be stronger. Okay. Just give me a second. All right, let's talk about the method to go from weak mindset to a strong mindset, right? Because you don't just wake up one day and have a mindset of like grit. Right? It took me a very long time to develop this. And it doesn't matter how old or young you are, you can always develop grit, always develop your mind, always grow your mind. There's many things you can do, but I want to focus on one thing so that you can really take action on this and just really start developing this resilient mindset. And the only thing that you got to do every day is you got to try something new and challenging. That's really it. When's the last time you did something new? And a lot of you guys joining this program, the AMZ Seafood program, is fairly new for you, right? What is in that program that's new for you that scares you or makes you nervous that you don't know what you're doing, right? When you're doing something new, it's always going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first, right? Take action on the things that makes you nervous, makes you scared, makes you fearful. Don't go jump off a plane. It's kind of risky, but if that's your thing, like skydiving, go do it. But it's not for me, but I'm just saying like take actions on something that is fearful for you, right? Just take action on it. So why is it important to do something new? Because it allows you to train the muscle. There's a muscle in your brain. Every part of your brain can be trained. You can have higher emotional EQ. So that's just emotional intelligence. You can train yourself to be better at something all the time. You can train your muscle to be stronger. If you don't train this muscle, like the difference between you and I is I've tried a lot of different businesses. That's why I'm not afraid to jump into another business. It's easy for me because I've done it multiple times. And I failed multiple times too. It's not like I've succeeded every single time. That's the truth. And what I learned and what I realized is that it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. I just got back up. I learned what I made mistakes on, and then I got better. And so the muscle of trying new things, you just got to get better at trying it. That's it. You just got better at developing that muscle. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then you'll be less fearful moving forward when you trying, let's say, to learn a new skill, when you're trying to build a new business, when you're making another decision, right? Because every decision we make is unknown anyway. It doesn't mean the decision we make today is gonna lead us to success tomorrow. We don't know that. We make the decision today. We don't know if it's gonna work out tomorrow, right? We could all next thing you know, I could be sitting here. Next thing you know, right? The asteroid hit this area and we all just died. Like you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen. The only thing you have is today. So if I ask you right now is Is anything going to change if you do nothing for the next 10 years? Is your life going to get better if you continue to do the same thing you're doing now? Is the unknown going to go away? Probably not, right? Things will change, but you don't know if it's going to change for the good or the bad. But if you're not intentional about those change, the change most likely not going to be good because you're not directing your life, right? The result might not be what you expect if you're not intentional about the direction of where you want to go. So you have a chance today to say, hey, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to lean into this pain of learning something that scares me, learning something that I'm uncomfortable with. I might not be good with computers. I might not be great at, learning this new thing about marketing, online sales, research, using this new tech, maybe AI, right? Like if you guys have not used ChatGPT, dude, this tool is great. I mean, just as it asks question and it gives you an answer. So it's really cool. So technically you can do so many things and apply so many shortcuts into your life. You can write emails instantly, just asking it to write emails for you. And those are the things that is, you know, developing every single day, every single month, every single year. Like there's new things that comes all the time. And if you're not trying something new and not adapting to the change, you're not going to be growing. Just think about this. If you're a child that's like crawling and learning how to walk, and you never overcame the fear of falling when you're walking, you'll still be crawling today. You might be a 30-year-old, 40-year-old person, crawling your entire life. So just lean into the new things, trying new things. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, the better you get at it, right? Just keep trying new things. Take action on that.